thank you everybody for coming in tonight and viewing. It's a pleasure to be here. I can't see people's faces because I got my screen up. I wish I could see people's faces. That really means a lot to me when I get to visually see you. If you don't know me, my name is Lenny Mulcahy, and I have met Howard many times through NAMI. I'm also employed at Boston University Center for Psychiatric Rehabilitation, as well as the Center of Excellence at Mass General Hospital. I've been just thrilled to be here tonight. When I actually asked Howard if I could give my talk, I felt like I wanted to reach a wider perspective of people, and I said, how am I going to do this when I just reading from my notes? So I decided to make a photo essay. So there's 20 photos, and under each photo, there's going to be a title, and then I'm going to speak some words for each photo. So I'm glad to be here. I hope everyone can see the PowerPoint. So we'll begin. If we can wait for questions at the end, that would be great.
Just double check. If people see the slide, recovery
Yeah.
is non-negotiable.
Give a thumbs up. I can't see you, but give a thumbs up if you've got the slides accessible to you.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Sally. Okay, here we go. So the title of my talk is Recovery is Non-Negotiable. And I'm gonna kind of think about that. When I thought about that, I was thinking, well, the definition of the Merriam-Webster dictionary says it's not open to discussion or consideration. So when I thought about that, I asked myself, I guess what I am trying to say is that I shouldn't have to convince myself into believing that I can have a healthy life full of meaning and purpose. So I want everyone to think about this definition in my response as we go through these images and words. Does this mean, yes, anyone with a mental health condition can have a full life and be free from their condition? Or does it mean that having a mental health condition has its ups and downs and life has a purpose? So I want you to think about that as we go along during this talk. Okay. So it's going to be based around 3 areas. The first one is my early hopes and dreams on becoming a person. The second phase will be making sense of my suffering and becoming resilient. And the third phase is going to be having a purpose and meaning led to hope and recovery. Okay. These are a pair of hockey skates. Just so a reference to everybody, I've taken all the pictures except for one. I think it's one slide I did not take, and that will be in the middle. So I took all these pictures. My passion is photography. I enjoy taking pictures about people and objects, and I've been taking pictures for the last 25 years, I think, just about. So as you can see, these are a pair of hockey skates, and I played this sport most of my childhood and teenage years. Growing up, I was surrounded by family and friends, which I cherished. Although I learned a lot from everyone, one of the most important lessons I learned was not to get discouraged. In high school, I sat on the bench because I was not good enough to play. Later in life, I learned that in order to participate in the world, I should not get discouraged if I didn't get my way. That was a good lesson for me. I really didn't think about that until years later. At the time, I was just sitting on the bench playing ice hockey, and I didn't get much playing time. So I was kind of upset about it. But later on in my life, I learned that, things just might not go your way, and I was in high school at the time, and I'd been playing my whole life as a youngster. Okay. Next slide is, okay. Getting into college was a big deal for me because I didn't have any aspirations for a particular career. I just went and thought I would just go and find out why all of my friends were going. I set out to find myself and get an education and see how I could be an adult and support myself. Although studying was hard, I found getting an education to be critical to my development as a person. I love learning about the human body and wanted to become a physician's assistant. I like helping people because my parents taught me that it was important to me to be useful to others. Just so you, the reference, when I was in high school, I really didn't study too much, so I didn't have good learning and study skills. So when I hit college, it was very stressful for me and kind of hit me hard. I kind of taken aback by all the hard work that I had to put into it. I went to UMass Boston and Dorchester. Um, okay. Late during my senior year in college in 1989, I started to experience depression and rambling thoughts that were difficult to control. I'd always had control over my thoughts and emotions. Now I was alone with ones that I could not understand. I felt I was in a massive storm that would not end. The days went into weeks and then months of experiencing these thoughts that I had no control over. My mental health was being assaulted, and I was saying to myself, how am I going to get through this? Who am I and how am I going to survive? And as you can see, the storms, this is up at Gloucester, in Gloucester at Eastern Point, where a retreat house that I go to once in a while. And you can see that the fierceness of this water barreling and barreling on the rocks. And it was, when people have these experiences of having a mental health issue or mental health crisis, it's a big storm. You just can't handle it. It just overcomes you, and you don't know how to deal with it. I guess the image is speaks for itself. As the months passed on, I began to know that I was having a mental health challenge. You see, my dad had a mental health condition as well as his brother, my uncle. My dad was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I knew it was hereditary. After I graduated from college in 1990, I sought treatment at McLean Hospital, a psychiatric facility in Belmont, Massachusetts. I saw a psychiatrist and was given a therapist as well. Just like my dad, I thought I'd be prescribed medication and get back on my right feet right away. It took several trials and therapy for me to get to where I am today. In this image, you can see that it's all bright and then it goes into this dark tunnel. So sometimes our worlds seem everything's fine, things are going well, and then all of a sudden we see that we're going to go into this hole and it doesn't look comfortable. So I guess that's the what I'm trying to show is that life can be uncomfortable and it can come up on us pretty quickly. Yeah. A couple of jobs before okay. I had a couple of jobs before I skated into Boston University Center for Psychiatric Rehabilitation. I got a job as a peer support specialist and learned about recovery in the role of peer support. I learned I could still have a full life and have bipolar symptoms. I did not have to be perfect and be well all at the same time. I believe that suffering happens to all of us, and I had to face it head on and just like I did with me not playing hockey. I've worked there at the center for the last 25 years and still look forward to working there every time I get there. I feel part of a community that not only supports me, but one that I can support. I also found work at the Center of Excellence with a bunch of wonderful peer support specialists doing research. It's a different role for me, but I like diving into the peer role, which is doing something that I love. And this is a picture of a dear friend of mine at the center, Marjorie Jacobs, who I've known for many years. She's retired now, but I still keep in touch with her. Breaking through the darkness. Sometimes I go through dark times, but I know there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Paying attention to the light is important to me because I know I can get through the dark days and participate in the world and have a positive impact on other people's lives. As we can see, the sun is coming up, but it's kind of hidden and the brush is in the way. And sometimes we feel, I guess, my point is that sometimes when we have these difficult days, we have to still focus on what is good, what's going to be the end result. The sun is always going to come up. Here's another point too. In this image, you can see that it's a weave of vines and branches and trees. And in the beginning, you might see a little bit of darkness. And as you progress through these weaves and vines, it gets lighter. That's another metaphor that the image will show that, life is going to be difficult. And we have to stand our ground and be good to ourselves and great to get the support that we can, just like we're doing here tonight. I appreciate all y'all being here tonight, giving me support so I can get through this presentation. But it's all about support. And I think that's very critical to anybody in any type of situation in life, whether if you have a mental health condition or you don't. Recovery is not linear. Sometimes I feel and think I will not have any stumbling blocks with my mental health condition. I can at times get scrambled thoughts, confusion, depression, or hypomanic. I tell myself this is not the end of the world. Recovery is not a straight line to well-being. There are waterfalls to be crossed, rocks to be climbed, and hills to be overcome. These obstacles are meant to make me resilient. So I think if we went to if I was to just go through life and nothing really got in the way of me in my mental health condition, it wouldn't make me resilient. I think that's what builds character in a person. It's not so much our successes, it's when we stumble and we have to learn how to get around it, go over it, get through it. But it's a learning curve, and it's not always going to be a linear direction. It's going to be some stumbling blocks. I find that building community support is critical to overcoming isolation and loneliness. When I think about psychiatric rehabilitation, I believe it's getting back into the community of my choice, a place where I belong and feel part of. There's nothing more powerful to me that brings me closer to my mental well-being than to be involved in the peer movement. NAMI is one of them, and I attend their annual walk. I get to meet old friends, family, and advocates who come together and unite for a beautiful cause. There's me. That's the only image that I didn't take. I don't know what year that is, but maybe Howard would know. But that was a while ago. But I do love going to the NAMI walk. I go every year. I think I've been attending since the very first walk that they put out. So that's been a long time, but it's a nice thing to do. It's a nice thing to do to meet people, to be a part of a community. Everybody there is for one cause. It's to raise money for NAMI. So it's a good thing to do if you've never gone to a walk or a benefit walk. You might want to check it out or give some financial support to it. This is the Museum of Fine Arts, okay? I get inspired at the MFA in Boston, where I have a membership. I attend there 2 to 3 times a month, and I usually bring a friend. The membership's not too expensive, but there are different memberships that you can get. You can either get it by yourself or have someone to bring a friend to, or a family membership. The artwork touches me deep down inside because I can see all the hard work that goes into these pieces. Art just makes sense to me, and I try to connect it to my own photo work. I just went this past Sunday to visit the museum, and they had the Winslow Homer exhibit. It's exquisite. Beautiful work. I like to read about artists online before I go to get a prep to get the year the artist was born, the type of work the artist does, the medium that they do. It's a big to-do for me. I get really heavily involved in some of the shows that they present, and it's a nice thing to do. It's like the Homer exhibit was pretty crowded, so I kind of had to find and pick my spots. I'll probably go back, but with my membership, I can go back and get into the gallery for free, which is nice. Okay. My mother played a critical role in my life. That's my mom, and I cannot thank her enough. Along with my family, she went above and beyond what was expected of her. She always made sure she was on track with me on keeping up with my mental health treatment. She wasn't overbearing and never told me how to get better and stay well. And honest herself, she gave me encouragement on my work. I just am so lucky to have had her. When I, during my really difficult years, she just kind of like edged me along. She didn't nudge me and say, "Oh, did you call your doctor? Or did you take your meds?" She wasn't that kind of mom. She was just very, very gentle and caring, and she would just keep in check with me, just how you doing today? Have a good day, what are you doing today? And it was just no stress, no pressure on trying to force me to do anything. So I think that was really special, the special way that she was, the special person that she was. She never was overbearing or anything to anybody. And just being her son was just an honor. It was so nice to be a part of her life. Um, Finding strength through spirituality. I can't do this alone, quote unquote. I'm a Catholic and have a healthy relationship with my faith. Reading through the Bible helps me lead me to be one with my spirit. The story of God in the scripture tells me that inspires me as love for. Let me read that again. I'm sorry. The story of God in scripture tells me and inspires me his love for his people. I like both the Old and New Testament because it grounds me and gives me hope. The stories and parables teach me about suffering and how to deal with it. At one point in my life, I thought I was being called to the religious life, but as you can see, it didn't turn out that way. My spirituality plays a critical role in my life, and I'm glad that I have the opportunity to practice it. Being grateful for all that I have is an insight that I've gotten out of my spirituality. I don't know that I think it was in my college years when I was studying. I got this feeling I was getting called into the religious life. I don't know what order it would have been or under the Catholic Church. I don't know what that meant to me, but I never really talked to somebody about it, like a priest or a cleric about it. But I think I felt like that was something that was calling me. But I did get sick in college, so I kind of had to not do that. Um, so, but spirituality plays a big part in my life. It's a very meaningful and purposeful. It gives me strength when I'm down. It allows me to see that it's a big world out there, and I know spirituality can be a very supportive role in everybody's recovery, and some people really cherish that. And I thank you for understanding. Okay, so I think we have to look at this as like sometimes we see all these I see all these things going on in my world, all the stimulation, you know, all the movement, all the sounds, all the sights. And what I try to do is just kind of when all that hits me, I try to focus on what's really important. When I am overstimulated or overcome with sadness, I work on focusing on what's important in the moment. I work real hard and look at life as a whole and realize that my faith, gratitude, family, and friends mean more to me than my difficulties. They keep me grounded and still. They hold me up when I am down. This brings a sense of belonging and loneliness dissipates. I can see how important I can be to them when they need support from me. Support goes both ways. Peer support goes a long way in this fashion because we know what it's like both mentally and emotionally. No secrets, no explanation, just trust. It works. Here's my buddy. This is my dog, Samson. This is Samson, my chocolate lab retriever. He was so beautiful and grounding. We played so much and had a lot of fun when he was alive. He taught me how to play and just be myself. He made me laugh on many occasions and brought me great joy. Sometimes, oh boy, and he would drive me crazy because was very grumpy around other dogs. Well, nobody's perfect. Uh, this dog was 70 pounds and he was just a love with people. But when he saw another dog, he would just pull like crazy and he would get on his hind legs. I don't know what happened. It wasn't me. It was just something that he didn't like. He somehow didn't like other dogs, but he was, having a pet. Pets are very important to recovery, I think, and in life in general. Pets are so precious to us, and they've become a big part of the family. Okay. I have a great amount of gratitude for being able to read again. There were many years when I couldn't because of my condition. Sometimes psychiatric medication will fog up my mind, and I used to get so frustrated. I would be so upset and feel isolated. I just wanted to read and see what the author had to say. Now I can read and need to see and feel what the words mean to me. I can get inspired and full of life again. There is that word gratitude again. Um, it can be very frustrating when a person finds inspiration and content and structure in their life when they're able to read immaterial. In so many years, I wasn't able to do that. It was very hard. And when the fog lifted, I'm absorbing books now. I'm getting the material. Between my job either at BU or the Center of Excellence, I'm able to read much better. I'm able to read my books on spirituality. I can read online. Um, it's just such a critical role. Reading is such a critical purpose for all of us, and me in particular. Having a purpose. Having peace within me gives me a reason to be alive and well. To love myself is the greatest gift that I can give myself. Why shouldn't I love myself? I'm worth it. Even though I have an illness, I have every right to be kind and caring to myself, even though I have an illness that is not kind to me. It's worth the fight to keep my dignity and self-respect. There is only one me, so I must celebrate my life on both the good and bad days. This was a real live shot. I didn't know what I was going to do with this, so I went outside. The camera was in the house, and it was on the same level as the ground, so it was raining out. So I just put my umbrella on and threw it over my shoulder, and I just closed my eyes and just embraced life, And I thought it came out really well. It's one of my favorite shots that I ever did about a self-portrait. So I think this says it all about me. Life can be really nice and we should enjoy it and embrace it when we can. I really don't know what the day will bring, but I do know that there will be a tomorrow. Sometimes I wish today would never end, and because it is full of peace and joy. Sometimes something I always wanted. Life has thrown me many storms my way, but I know deep in my heart that my life has a purpose which is critical to survival. Suffering can take a toll on a person, but having hope in a life filled with gratitude and healing is healing to the soul. I hope this photo essay inspires you. Everyone has a story to tell, and if I can inspire at least one of you, then this presentation has done its job. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, Lenny.
Thank you, Lenny.
I really like my computer kept shutting out and I missed the first thing you said, which was very provocative, and I really loved it. And I wanted to know if you'd share it again because I missed it. But you talked about the dictionary definition of unnegotiable, and I thought that was powerful.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you so much.
Would you tell me
Okay.
what you specifically said? Because it was very eloquent.
Sure. Let me look at my notes. I said, um, okay, I said, what do you mean about the word non-negotiable? And then the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines it as not open to discussion or consideration. And I said, I guess what I am trying to say is that I shouldn't have to convince myself into believing that I can have a healthy life full of purpose and meaning. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I love it. I love it using that word in this matter. And a lot of what you said reminded me of things like that. I want to argue like in court about like, my human beingness and like my rights. And it's very
right.
powerful, very steady minded and very rich.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you.
Hmm.
I think Sally has her hand up. Hi, Sally.
Hello, Lenny. I
Hi.
just want to say everything about your story was beautifully done. I love the photographs, but most importantly, I love the messages that you conveyed, and they are very inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And I want to
Sally.
just say I've known you for all the 25 years you've been at the center, and you've always been such a kind and supportive person to those around you, and I congratulate you for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Sally.
So
It was very sweet.
we're entering Q&A time, but Lenny, could you just put in a brief plug for the BUCPR, what it's all about in the Center of Excellence?
Sure. The Center for Psych Rehab is located at Boston University, and it's been in existence for many years. Sally could do a better history than I could, but I've been there for 25 years, and it has broken down into a couple of categories. One is involved with research. One is involved with a group called Nateo, which is young adults living with psychiatric challenges. And another section is called the Recovery Center. And we all surround ourselves with what's important in psychiatric rehabilitation and recovery. And that's where I learned about the concept of recovery, and I made a lot of nice friends there, a lot of peers. Um, so there are different programs there, but some from college students, some as we do research on how we can better the lives of people with psychiatric disabilities in the community.
In the Center of Excellence?
The Center of Excellence is part of Mass General Hospital, and it's funded by the Department of Mental Health. And there's different departments at the Center of Excellence, and it's all based on research. I don't know the other departments because I just started there in July. But the department in that work under is for research on peers and how peer support specialists impact peers and how we can make ourselves better useful in the peer community. And I work with some wonderful people.
Thank you.
Hi, Sue and Paul.
Hi, Lenny. I
Hi.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for your presentation. I was deeply moved. I was very inspired by you, and I'm so grateful for your honesty and the beauty of your presentation and your photographs. So thank you very much for sharing them tonight.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you. That was very nice of you to say. It's good to see both of you. Hi, Catherine.
Catherine?
I think she's frozen. Oh, there she goes.
Oh,
I just wanted to say that your self-portraits were beautifully done. I loved all of them. The one of you reading and the one, just all of them. They were just beautifully done.
Thank you, Catherine.
Really got a
Thank,
talent for
thank
photography.
you. Thank you. I'm trying to do something a little bit more with my photography than I'm showing. I do a lot. I just got to figure out what I can do with it in the future. Maybe make a little bit of money doing it. it's kind of sucking me in, you know. I don't know if anybody's ever had something that's really drawn other than my spirituality. It's pulling me into something that I don't know anything about. Just like, but I'm really excited about the way it's going right now. Thank
Great.
you.
Great.
Yeah.
And your story was very inspirational.
Thank you. This is the first time I've used it with pictures. So I thought it was
Yeah,
pretty powerful with the images. I think it came out really
Yeah.
well.
you did
Yeah.
a great job. You did a great job, Lenny. That was nice.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you so much.
Would you ever share with us your writing about it?
Sure, I can.
That would
Yeah.
be awesome.
Okay. Yes,
How
Renee,
do
I can.
okay.
Hi, Garrett.
Hi, Lenny.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. That was a great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to know if you could tell me more about mentors along the way in your recovery journey, seeing as you've been a mentor to me in a lot of ways.
Sure. I would say in my personal life, I would say my faith-based community, people in my church circles and people um that I can, you know, discuss my life with. I have a couple of men's groups and I have a spiritual based background, which gives me a lot of internal strength and courage. I think that's where my faith-based approach is. I also have friends at BU, people like you, a lot of good peer networking. Um, and I think the peer movement has really got deep inside of me. It's how to help me to realize that, you know, even though I have bipolar disorder, I'm still a person and I still can hold a job. I still can have a friend. I can be a member of my family. It gave me different identities. And I think just to get that inner strength is so important when we're feeling down or we have so-called symptoms, you know, if we're depressed or if we have kind of thoughts that are not right at the time, or, you know, we have multiple thoughts coming into our head, it's important for me to ground myself. And I think just talking to peers, it's, you know, I really don't have to explain all that. They just know what I'm going through and I know what they're going through. It's just a very powerful connection that peers have. And I think at the center, it's definitely been my colleagues and my people I work with throughout the years, and the leadership that's happens at BU. My family has inspired me and gave me a lot of grounding and a lot of courage and a lot of strength. My siblings have been wonderful. They never really, um, when I started to first feel depressed and not well and stuck in the house a lot, they never really said anything bad about it. They never criticized me. So they were always there for me. And I was not stigmatized by my personal friends, people I grew up with in my community, like the kids I went to high school with. They were always supportive. I'm very, very, very lucky that I have the support that I have. I don't think I'd be here without that. With the role models and the connections that I've made throughout my life, you know, Garrett. Yeah. Thanks. That's a good question, Garrett. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Lenny. Thank you so much for being here and for telling your amazing story.
Thank you.
It was so full of hope and kindness to yourself and others. And um, I am very glad that you are, a part of the Center's family and glad to be there with you.
Great.
Um, I was wondering if you feel comfortable answering this question,
Yeah.
um, what you would tell your younger self, if you could.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a really good one. How old am I? Uh,
You pick.
I don't know. My younger self, I would say, just not to worry about all the things that I worry about, you know. Throughout the years, I think I've worried so much on so many different levels of so many different things. And just to keep telling, I think I would tell myself that life is going to work out, you know, things are going to happen. It's not a perfect straight line. Life is not a perfect straight line. whether you do have a condition or not have a condition. Everyone has these twists and turns in life. And I think I would tell my younger self that things are going to happen in life. And as long as you have the support that you have, and that is so important. I think if I was to speak to a bunch of young kids, I would say it's so important to develop young friendships that you can carry with your life. You can get friends throughout your whole life, but I think sometimes if you have those long-term friendships, invest in friendships. We're always hearing the thing about invest in money for your future, but that's very important. But I think it's more important to invest your time and your energy into friendships, into good support systems, because as we get older, things happen in our lives. We might get sick, we might have family crises, things we can lose our job, anything can happen in life as we age, but it's so important to get supports as you're younger so that you can carry them on. That's not to say that you can't find them at later in life, but I think it's critical to have a lot. Not, you don't have to have 1,000 friends, but to have some good sound based friendships where you can call someone and talk to them when you need to. That's a great question, Jamie. Thank you. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Lenny. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and I see you
Yeah,
loud and clear.
yeah. It was a wonderful presentation. I just wanted to know what drew you to photography and what role it played in your recovery.
Oh, that's a great question. When I was in college, I decided to buy a camera. It was in 1989, and I had a hard time in college, a very hard time. I had no friends. I didn't celebrate or go out with friends for coffee shops or go for a beer with a bunch of guys or have any dates. I had a really hard time in college of my social life. So I bought a camera. I thought that would be important. So I started getting my camera and going out and taking pictures of different things. And it just flourished. It's gone up and down throughout the years, but I think these last couple of months, it's been really pulling at me for some reason. It's really pulling at me to do something more with it. And when I did the presentation, I said, I got to do something with these images. So I looked back and from since 2004. So I went through all these images and I said, I got to find something that I can explain my story, explain my life through these images. So I'm glad it worked out for everybody. But that's a great question, Bill. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking.
No,
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Let's see, I can't see everybody. Let me see if I can. I should be asking you questions. Any other questions anybody would like to ask me?
I forgot it.
Yeah, do you have another question? Yeah.
Could you talk about your physical fitness, how that's played a role in keeping you strong
Oh,
and
yeah,
in your
that's a great
recovery?
question, Garrett. I forgot to mention that I was a personal trainer for about 15 years during my time at BU, which I'm presently still, but I don't have my certification anymore. I didn't renew it. When you have certain certifications, they have you renew your credits to keep up your certification. But when COVID hit, I just didn't go to any of the meetings or anything, so I didn't renew it. But I've been working out my whole life since I've been in high school. I was lifting weights and skating and walking and always being active, always trying to eat healthy, always trying to having that positive mindset. So in at BU, I was teaching several fitness classes throughout the years. So I really miss doing that. I always like teaching people how to stay well and stay fit physically and mentally and spiritually. But it plays a big role in my life. I like to walk all the time. I'm actually in my bedroom and I have weights in my bedroom. You know, I've had weights in my basement, weights in my house. I go to gyms, but I think having a good physical pres taking care of your body, taking care of the what you eat and how your body is, you got to be really strong today as you get older. Um, I'm 64 and I can feel like a lot of the muscle tissue is just dissipating more than what I expected at this age. But so that's why I have to continue with my weight training and with my walking and eating healthy foods. So yeah, that's a great question, Garrett. And I know a lot of people in this who are viewing like to exercise. Um, so it's really important. That's a good point, Garrett.
Lenny, I realize a lot of things we have in common. I was brought up Catholic, and I don't know. I didn't used to read the Bible, but then I got in Bible studies. But one other thing that was similar was like being kind of lonely in despite being in college. Might have been for several different reasons because I went to night school and
Yeah,
but like relating to my faith, like there were years that I felt so lonely, but then I didn't really enjoy it while I was in it. But when I left it, I looked back and realized some of the things that happened to me. And one of them is that like I felt connected to God and
yeah, yeah.
intimately. And I think those years of that connection, that deeper connection than the social frivolity of some of our culture, is that I think those years helped me survive really hard things later, you know.
That's great, Renee. I completely agree. I think you echo what I was saying in the presentation is that I didn't have a lot of friends in college. I was trying to find myself. I was studying, and I think that got me much more connected to my faith.
Yeah.
And that's when I began to read books on faith, and that helped comfort me with my loneliness, because
Yeah.
I think when we go to college at that age, we're stressed out, we lose our friends from home, we go on to a new arena, we have a new field to play on, and that's where I kind of drew my faith from. Yeah, good point, Renee.
And like for me, like I connected with my faith more meaningfully, well, when I was really young, but also
Yeah,
when I read the Bible always as an adult. But like recently, when I came here to get away from a lot of trauma and stress temporarily, I joined a church on Calm Ave, and I'm gonna be confirmed again, but it's not Catholic because they're so
mm-hmm,
loving and they're
yeah,
like example of like God's love. And I was like, I've never met people like this before. So like
that's
even though
nice.
they're like a different race, I'm gonna be confirmed on Sunday
Oh, good,
in front of
congratulations.
everybody.
That's great, Renee.
Yeah.
That's great. Good for you. Good for you.
So you feel like that spiritual faith helped you like love yourself more and recover?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Renee. Yes, definitely. It was critical to my recovery. Yes, yes.
Because like in
Absolutely.
May, I said to God, like, I want my heart to grow because I can't really cope with the world on the world's terms. So like show me how to do it on yours, you know? And I
Yeah.
started get on one-on-one mentorship with the Bible, and then I started reading Joyce Meyer's books, and then I found this church. Like instantaneously, everything was instant, like one to the other, like handhelds, you know, right to the door.
Yeah. Right. That's great, Renee. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, because everyone has their own story, and I know sometimes spirituality is kind of hard to talk about, but with people with mental health conditions, and anybody, in fact, you might be able to feel a little bit lonely and isolated, but when that spirituality kicks in, it comforts us, it really helps us along our journey in life.
Yeah, and then when I look back now, well, not just now, but for years, I would look back at that time when I was really alone and just be like, "Oh, I miss that," you know, like it's so much deeper
Yeah,
than everything else. But I was glad to have it though, because it's like a backbone too. It's like being literally carried when you're struggling, you know.
yes, yes, you're right, Renee. Yes, yes. Does anybody have any more questions? Anybody want to know anything about my story? Any slides that inspired you more than others? Anything that spoke to you?
Mhm.
Nothing, anything jump out at you?
I like the nature shots with the darkness and the light.
Okay. Yeah. those pictures were from Eastern Point Retreat House in Gloucester, Mass. It's right in the Atlantic Ocean. So
Is that a Catholic
it's
place?
really beautiful place to be.
What is it
Yeah.
for? Is it Catholic?
Yeah, the Jesuit Retreat House.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
wow. And where is it again?
Gloucester,
Oh,
Mass. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah.
I love retreat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the hockey skates picture.
Okay. Yeah. You're a big hockey fan, so I should have known on that.
I loved every single picture you posted, especially the one of you in your in the rain. There's so much that could be said about that one.
Yeah,
But
that
I
yeah.
I I love the hockey one also because like not only am I a fan, it's just like I resonated with what you had to share about that of being at a young age and experiencing feelings of not being good enough when adults in those sports make decisions. Um,
Yes.
so I really resonated with what you had to share, and also the just the contrast and the imaging of the picture was really beautiful.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you. 'Cause that was a big part of my world when I was a young kid. You know, I really enjoyed playing hockey. When I was a little kid, I would go down the local pond down the street from my house. And one time I couldn't get my skates off. I was on the pond and they froze on my foot. I had to walk home in my skates. So that goes to show you I would go down there at all times of the year, you know, all the weather that I went through with the cold just to put
Oh
my
my
skates on.
gosh,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
the skates were frozen on my foot. Yeah. Yeah.
I was also wondering, like, given the way you felt a long time ago and those years of feeling like different, for me, I felt like kind of stigma and self-esteem issues because of it. And
Yeah.
but like, you know, you learn to love yourself and enjoy yourself. Like, how does that translate now? Because now you're always very kind and helping others, but like, do you still kind of cherish your alone time, and is that still a very valuable part of your life?
I still cherish my home time. Yeah. I do a lot of stuff in my room. I listen to podcasts. I'll read photography books. I'm always digging into pictures and seeing if they would inspire me and trying to think into my own mind how I can inspire other people with images and I'll share them or I'll send them pictures to some friends. I'll send them images, things that inspire me, and I hope I can inspire the people. Or I read scripture, I read my spirituality books. I'm not in front of the TV, not at all. I might catch a Bruins game here and there on TV, but I never watch TV other than that. I'm always busy and contemplating and just spending time. I don't mind being alone, but it's the if it's okay to be alone, but it's not okay to be lonely. That's when you
Mhm.
have to reach out and be around people,
Mhm.
um, to touch base with friends and family and people at work and people in your circles. I think that's really important to signify there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. The big difference. Any other questions?
Well, just thank you again, Lenny, for all
Thank
your
you,
wisdom.
Sally. Thank you, Sally. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lenny.
Thank you, Sue, and
Thank-
thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Lenny.
Thanks,
Yeah, thank
Paul.
you, Lenny. Thank you.
Thanks,
It was a great
Bill.
presentation.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
I'm really
Lenny.
happy everybody made it. Thank you so much. I know people had to run home from work and or whatever they were doing, and they plopped themselves in front of a screen and have to listen to me. But I really appreciate everyone who watched tonight. That was very thoughtful of you to come and
Thank
listen to
you.
my story. Thank you so much. And
Happy to
this is
do it.
going,
To everybody as well.
yeah, this is going to be taped, right, Howard?
Yeah.
I recorded it. I haven't figured out how to share it yet. I'll have to call BMCIT over the weekend.
Okay, because
But
some
I can
people
send
wanted
it
to.
to you. I can send it to you, and then you can send it to other people if you want.
Okay, great, great, Howard.
Will you have our emails? Will you be able to share the talk? Because I really like it, and I don't know.
I can
wanted to,
find,
I
I'll
have your
find you. I
email,
can,
Renee.
yeah, we'll send it to you, Renee.
because I don't know if it could be soon, because I don't know. I wanted to ask you a question privately, like,
Okay, we can do that later. Yeah.
but, okay.
Okay. All right.
Appreciate it,
All right.
Lenny. Thanks so much for being our speaker. I think people really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's very
Thank you
good.
so much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Lenny. It's
Thank you
very
so
good.
much.
Thank you, Rennie.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.